Good morning, Facebook family and friends. Today it is Monday, July 4th, the year of 2016. So it's a beautiful, hot day outside. Been running around, taking the dogs out, just doing a bunch of stuff in this heat, and I am burning up. I just came back from I went to go see what was going on at the pool, and I'm thinking about hanging out at the pool later on in the complex we live in. And, I did a video a year ago about wearing this shirt, and I wore this shirt, and it created a whole lot of controversy, which was kind of bizarre to me because it's just a American flag T-shirt. A lot of black folks felt that as a black African American man, I should not celebrate the 4th of July. And you have all these pro-blacks who are against celebrating the 4th of July. Now, I grew up in Gary, Indiana. And every 4th of July weekend, I can remember my father wanting out getting fireworks, food, barbecue, chicken. My father was from Louisville, Mississippi. He's a country boy. And my father had a very rough life coming out of Mississippi. And I think I've discussed some stuff about my father. One thing, my father couldn't read nor write. They didn't go to school. They were not allowed to go to school. So my father never learned how to read and write. And so as a little kid, I was embarrassed by this. I was really ashamed that my father couldn't read. I don't even know how my father got a driver's license. Because he could read a little bit, but somehow he had a driver's license and other stuff. And I would always... But as a little kid, when I learned how to read, which I learned how to read at a very early age, I used to read my father in the newspaper. We had newspapers we delivered as little kids, newspaper routes. And my father, on days that he was there, would pick up a paper and say, "Read it to me." And I'd have to read him this paper. And if there were words he didn't understand, or I didn't understand, I had to get a dictionary and look it up and read it to him. This was very embarrassing as a little kid. I'm a little kid, and I'm like, oh my God. And sometimes my schoolmates would come around, and little did I know their parents couldn't read either. But as a little kid, you don't know, So, but a lot of, just the truth of the matter, a lot of family members, a lot of people in Indiana who came out of the South, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, who migrated north, a lot of these people could not read nor write. I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and I found out later on that a lot of my Jehovah's Witnesses' parents could not read, and they were working to get their GEDs. And so they were. So when you grow up in an environment like this, my father was, although he grew up in Mississippi, and he used to tell me some very harrowing stories about race relations. Just my father, I won't say he was a racist, but he was very leery about, or uncomfortable with white Americans because of the environment he grew up in Louisville, Mississippi, where people were lynched and burned, and they couldn't go to school, they couldn't get an education. My father at one point even had worked at the Atlantic Steel Mill here in Atlanta, Georgia, and they were chased out of Atlanta in the 50s, 40s, 50s, I can't remember. And that's how he ended up in Gary, Indiana. So, but my father was a very proud American. Strange, huh? No, my father was a very proud American. He loved his country. He would put up American flags. My father always said, "This is our home." One of my uncles fought in the Korean War. He's still alive now. And him and his wife have been married for over 50 years. That's my father's oldest brother. In fact, all my father's brothers and sisters have been married 40, 50 years. All of them have been married for extensive long periods of time. On my father's side of the family. Mother's side of the family, no. Women got divorced. But on my father's side of the family, all those men stayed married to these women. And they did phenomenally well because they stayed in the same marriage. That's another video. So, my father instilled in me a love for this country. Although he had a very difficult time in this country, and his family had a difficult time in this country, and his parents had a difficult time, and we're descendants of slaves. But like my father would always tell me, this is our home, this is our country, this is what our family fought and died for, to live here in the United States. and he wanted us to make sure that we could take advantage of some of the things. My father worked at the U.S. Steel Mill in Gary, Indiana. He had 7 children. Now, keep in mind, this man couldn't read nor write. I can remember going to car dealerships with my father and helping him negotiate the purchase of a car. And I was a kid because I could read the paperwork. I remember calling my mother, Mama, they changed the stuff that they told my father is not the same as what they wrote on the paperwork. She's like, well, you sitting there, correct it. What are you calling me for? And I said, oh, okay. And maybe because I was forced to participate in things like that, I became a smart businessman. Because it made me deal with issues most children didn't have to deal with. Most children have to go to a Chevrolet dealership in the 70s and in the 80s and read through a contract on a piece of paper to make sure that their parents were getting a very good deal on the car that they were purchasing. At least the salespeople doing this, and this went on for years, guys. I ended up negotiating cars for my father and my mother. I got very good at buying cars. If you want to buy a car, I can take you to the dealership and get you a damn good deal because I know the ins and outs of dealing with them damn crooks at these car lots. And that's a whole other video too, because them car lots are a trip. So, but I've been dealing with car lots, buying cars since I was 9, 10 years of age. Going to the dealership, picking up, so, but my father was very proud of this country, even though, like I said, y'all, they had some serious issues that took place in my father's family. They were poor, very poor. They didn't have anything. Barely had shoes. Barely had, the stories you would tell me. That's how, when I was growing up, we wanted to get expensive clothes and stuff. My father was like, no, you're going to get this. I was so glad that man, my father, mother and father, I used to think my mother and father were some of the meanest people on planet Earth. But to this day, I don't feel good buying expensive clothes. I can't. It's just, I have a couple things here and there I might treat myself with, but I feel so horrible when I buy that stuff. It's just like, okay, now I'm buying it. We were going on this cruise. I think it's so funny. So one of my friends was saying that I was kind of old-fashioned because I was still wearing Sean John jeans because they cheap $29 for a pair of damn jeans shit. Got some shits at Marshall's. So I said, well, I'm going to treat myself and give me some True Religion. I went up to the True Religion store, walked in there and looked at them expensive-ass jeans, $150 and up. So I said, well, let me just get some shorts. Them shorts was $150. I said, okay, I tried the stuff on, that stuff at the register. I said, let me think about this. I was about $500 worth of clothes. There was t-shirts, jeans, shorts. I was going to treat myself. After I drove up to Buford Highway and went to a store called Generation X and saw that same mess that looked just like that stuff I was about to buy, I got all that shit for $100. I did not go back to True Religion. Sue me. I know they were sitting up there waiting for me to come back to that store to get that mess. I did not go back there and buy that mess. I'm so glad I went over to the Generation X on Buford Highway stuff. It was cheap. I had 2 big old bags of clothes, stuff I didn't wore yet. Tags still hanging on. Some of that stuff was $3 a shirt. And it looks great. People were like, and every time I wear that stuff, I had to have a somewhat decent body. That's a good thing about buying cheap clothes. If you got a decent body, people be like, oh, where'd you get this from? I paid $2 for this shit. So anyway, my father did not instill in us to buy this expensive stuff. We never got those Air Jordans and all these expensive shoes and expensive jeans, Calvin Klein's, and all this different stuff that came about in the late 70s, early 80s. My father was not having that mess. Plus, it was 7 of us. We wore Wranglers, and I hated it. We used to go to Sears and buy clothes. Whew. Roebuck jeans. I don't know if anybody ever remembers them Roebuck jeans. I had a bunch of them. They last forever, too. We didn't have those expensive shoes. It wasn't until I got to high school and got a job on my own, I bought a pair of Nikes. And I remember going to buy them Nikes thinking, am I going to buy these expensive damn shoes or what? So, 4th of July for my father was always something special. And it was one of my favorite holidays because you had the fireworks in Gary, Indiana. They would do these massive fireworks displays and all this food, and all my cousins and family members, we would get together for a big old cookout, and they'd had a hunch punch. Everybody would be getting drunk off of that damn hunch punch over there. We'd be sneaking and drinking the punch. Back then, it was okay for kids to have a little beer or drink a little bit back then. Now, it's against the law. You go to jail for that mess now. But back then, we all had a cup of that hunch punch, drinking, kids stumbling around that damn party. Not saying that they should have allowed that, but it was just a different era. Today, that don't happen. Not supposed to happen. But I look back on July 4th as always. This is always one of my favorite holidays. I mean, when me and Earl had our home, we'd always have a huge July 4th party. We would cook out and do all this different stuff. Right now, we're not in a house. So we're over here, and Earl's not here this weekend. He normally goes home for July 4th weekend with his family, so I'm here. So July 4th has changed for me as I've aged. But I am going to get out today and go to the fight. But I think I'm going to always celebrate July 4th because, like my father said, this is our country. That our ancestors fought hard to be here. They fought hard to live in this country. To be here, died. We have a lot of our ancestors died for the United States of America. No, maybe the 4th of July wasn't meant for us, but we sure claim this holiday as our own. And I think I'm very proud American. I know what we've all gone through as Black Americans to live in this country. I know what my ancestors, my family, them went through and continue to go through. It hasn't been an easy ride for anyone here. Anyway, I got a dog who's trying to go outside. I don't know. I just took them out. Now he can go back outside. Anyway, get out and enjoy July 4th. Grab you some hot dogs. Get you some ribs. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat me some ribs somewhere. I was going to cook. I said, why would I cook these ribs? And I go buy them from Fat Matt's Rib Shack. That's what I'm going to give me some damn ribs and some. Well, first I'm going to see if my sister and them are cooking out. Because if they're cooking out, then I might just pick up something and go over there and hang out with them. Get out. Enjoy the July 4th. This is a holiday for all Americans. I don't care what your race and background is. I don't care where you come from. But this is a holiday for all of us. Get out and enjoy and be a proud American. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm out and enjoy your 4th of July.